If I'm going to do it for longer, if you give me a 3-day one, I want a yoga guru, I want a masseuse,
Yeah.
I want sunshine and
I want to be on a Caribbean island,
Exactly.
ideally. Welcome to the first video podcast of The Wellness Breakdown. I'm Eve Kalinik. I'm a nutritional therapist, an author, and now a podcaster.
And I'm Rose Ferguson. I'm also a nutritional therapist and a functional medicine practitioner and also a podcaster.
Yeah, and actually Rose and I worked in the wellness industry as nutritional therapists for, well, over 10 years now. We actually met, didn't we, Rose? We studied together at college, and and over the years we just had loads of clients or people at events or even our friends and family just ask us about whether this fad or that fad works or doesn't work. And so essentially we're here to kind of do some myth busting or actually have some revelations around some of this stuff.
I mean, that is why this podcast came along, really, because Eve and I both experienced the same similar things where clients were asking us if this works or that works. And so we thought we would take on some challenges like water fasting, liver flushing, acupuncture, grounding, to name a few, and get some guests on to try them too and see how they go and then feedback to you guys.
And essentially what we do is we diarise our experience, so voice noting as we're going through, so you get it in real time essentially, and then we come back and pick it apart, really look at the science, how we felt personally and our professional opinions around all of this stuff.
If you're interested in anything in particular, then please do let us know, and we are really happy to try and test it for you. We are your crash test dummies. This is our 4th season and we do have lots more episodes available for you to listen to.
Yes, and definitely some literally juicy ones in there. And please do subscribe and leave a comment below. Like I said, we love to hear from you and we hope you enjoy the podcast. We're very happy that Ancient and Brave is back as our season sponsor. They have an incredible range of collagen supplements, MCT oil and nootropic blends. As well as nourishing your skin, hair and nails, collagen has been associated with whole body health benefits, which may include supporting joints and muscles to gut health.
Eve and I are both fans of supplementing collagen, but not all collagen is created equal. Ancient and Brave's is beautifully pure, highly absorbable and clinically researched. Also, very easy to take as part of your everyday ritual, as it's also odourless and tasteless. Perfect added to your morning coffee or daily cacao.
Consistency is key when taking supplements, and to get you started, Ancient and Brave is offering 20% off your first 3 orders when you subscribe with the code WELLNESS20.
Ancient and Brave are passionate about sustainability. They are a B Corp and a member of the powerful global initiative 1% for the Planet. So 1% of all sales goes towards environmental causes that protect the planet. So buying their products means you are also supporting the planet too. Sticking with tradition that it seems to be, I'm doing the first challenge of the series, and I say I'm dying to hear what you have for me, but I'm also a bit like, a little bit nervous. Tell me.
Well, put it this way, it's not going to be as bad as the carnivore diet, which I think we kicked off with last season, if I remember rightly, which was, I mean, to be fair, that was a bit cruel. So no, this one is a lot less meaty than that one. Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so I am actually going to set you a water fast challenge, because with the, I guess, heightened interest, because there's so much being talked about in terms of like fasting now, right, and intermittent fasting. I know it's something that you, in fact, actually that's what you're doing your master's dissertation on, isn't it? It's fasting. Yeah. But yeah, so there's lots of interest around the concept of fasting, and I just thought, well, look, if there's anybody that's going to push this to the extreme, it's going to be Rose Ferguson. And so that's why I thought, let's explore water fasting. And basically, this is the type of fast where you literally can't consume anything other than water. So not even like herbal teas or anything like that. And
no herbal tea? Oh my gosh,
no.
That's harsh.
Well, yeah, because as you know, herbal teas actually, I know people think they're a bit like, nah, but actually herbal teas they're quite potent. So, and like things like green tea obviously start to stimulate the liver and all of this. So actually none of that. It's just literally plain H2O. And it's the type of fast where, it lasts between 24 to 72 hours. I can say like, Rose is now like not finding this at all appealing.
72 hours.
Don't worry, I'm not going to make you do it for 72 hours. But there are a few reasons why people kind of might do these more extreme fasts, like religious reasons or like prepping for medical procedures. And those are very different kind of motivations, I guess. But in the realms of health benefits, it's most commonly used for weight loss and, inverted commas, detoxing. Yeah. And actually none of that's really been sort of substantiated with any proper science. I mean, there's been a small amount of studies linking its, potentials to supporting things like autophagy, like cellular renewal and that type of thing, sort of managing inflammation and potentially improving blood sugar management, but the data's like really low. However, since we're here to kind of like push things to the extreme and like for the benefit of you guys watching, listening, this is why we're taking this. Well, this is why Rose is taking this one on. So she's laughing. Okay. She's laughing, but I'm not sure if she's finding it funny yet. So I know you use these, like you do use various fasts in your practice quite often.
I do.
But I don't believe you've attempted a full-on water one.
No, so, I mean, water fasting, the concern I have around water fasting is that I think water fasting gets used in the wrong way often. And water fasting is a very, very fast way of getting toxins out of your tissue and they go into your bloodstream and you can feel awful, and I think it's quite aggressive. And so much as I love a fast, because I do, I'm always a bit, and apart from anything, the idea of just drinking water for 24 hours makes me want to, it just bores me before I even started. And I just think it's, and actually thinking about the emotional mentality around it, it feels like I'm going to have to like be just grin and bear it, which is not something that I think is a good way to feel around an intervention. But anyway.
I mean, I definitely would find this a bridge too far, or maybe it is a bit too far for you. But anyways, do you want the rules?
Yes. I want to know how long. That's all I'll care about. I'm like, where between 24 and 72 hours.
No, I'm only going to give it to you for 24 hours because that is actually then really cruel. So you can only consume plain water. So like I said, no herbal teas or any other liquids. And you must try and drink like 2 to 3 litres of water during the 24 hours because like you said, like the side effects of it. I mean, you're obviously like in the peak of physical health, Rose.
Obviously.
Apart from the Sunday night where you went out and had cocktails. But anyway, so maybe leave it a couple of days to kind of like get the alcohol out of your system. But yeah, lots of water. And then post fast, I mean, you probably know a lot more about this actually than I do because like I said, you're more, you do these more regularly, but breaking it with something like a smoothie or like a soup or something like that. And like in that following 24 hours, like obviously much smaller meals that are easy to digest and then start to gradually increase to normal portions. So those are the rules. How do you feel?
I don't know. My stomach is actually grumbling. It's like a physical response. It's actually grumbling now. Yeah, it's like that. Water fast. How do I feel? I'm relieved it's 24 hours. So can I just check? So I could do dinner at 6 o'clock on, say, whatever day it is, on, say, Tuesday, and then water fast till 6 o'clock on Wednesday, so I can eat Wednesday night. So I can have my soup. I will do a soup probably. Yeah. I think a soup's always a good thing, something that's liquidy so that it's easier on the gut and full of nutrition. Okay. That makes me feel better. I think if I had to go through the night again, then I would find that very difficult. So the fact that I can, I'd find that really hard. I don't, the herbal tea thing has really thrown me. I really, because I suppose it's just, I think for me, a lot of it is making food, thinking about it. And it's also taste, isn't it? I know that when people fast, I miss chewing. When you juice fast even, I miss just the act of chewing. So that's, anyway, I suppose it's very clear. The rules are very clear. They're not complicated. Just drink water for 24 hours, Fergus, and you'll be fine. Thanks for this one, Eve. Water fasting does not fill me with joy particularly. I'm not really sure how I feel about water fasting. I think it's a bit harsh myself. Anyway, I'm going to start after dinner tonight. I'm going to water fast all day tomorrow. I'm a little bit upset about the herbal tea situation. I thought I would be allowed those. I've got kind of a normal day tomorrow, but I'm not going to train. I just thought actually I won't overdo it because I'll just end up really hungry by the end of the day is what I'm anticipating. I do love water. I love it, but I don't know. I don't even think I'm allowed to put lemon and mint in it or anything exciting. But I'm not allowed herbal tea. I'm not going to be allowed to have lemon or mint or anything that might make it more exciting. It's just, I just think it's a bit boring, as I keep saying. I've said it a million times. It is really good for you, water. I know it's really good for you. I know. I tell people to drink more water all the time. I guess it just makes you feel hungrier, water, in a way, because you just, oh, I don't know, I'm just being miserable. I'm just being pathetic. Okay, so I'm just making some food for the kids and I'm pretty hungry now. Anyway, do you know what? It's not long to eat. It's not long till I get to eat, so it's not the end of the world, but I am feeling quite hungry this afternoon, I have to say. So this is just something for when they get in. And I don't know why I'm doing it because they are old enough by far to do it themselves. Anyway, and then I'm going to start cooking some dinner in a bit. And that is fine because that's for me too. Well, I have just had I had some soup and it was really nice. And actually I do feel good for doing it, I must say. And it was not nearly as hard as I thought. So I think doing 24 hours, which is what I think is very doable and useful. I feel quite engaged with taking care of myself and all those nice things when you sort of feel like you've done something nice for yourself.
So Rose, I know, look, you said before we started this and in the diary entries that you really weren't looking forward to this challenge, but how was it really for you?
It was fine. It was just a bit boring. I found, I tell you what actually is interesting, which is different to when you do a juice fast, even if it's mostly cucumber and celery, is that I definitely felt hunger. Like really, I was really conscious of my hunger and I think you also feel a wash, because you're just drinking water. It does. The boredom factor for me kicks in. I'm terrible. I'm like, and I found it really difficult when you're making food for other people because obviously, my timing
that's horrible.
And my timing of it was perfect because the kids were on half term, and actually they're slightly older now, so it's not like but still there's food around. It was fine. I think to do it for longer would have been very, very difficult for me. It's funny because when you do these sort of things, when you're it makes you really think about what you're eating, and everything tastes incredible.
Yeah.
And so
so you felt like your taste buds were like even high, or was it just like you were so hungry that like literally anything could have tasted good at that point? Or do you think it was actually it heightened your? Yeah,
I think it did heighten my taste buds because they hadn't had. Yeah, and also I mean there were lots of actually good things about it. One, it makes you very mindful about what you're eating. Two, you do feel lighter. Three, you don't have to think about food. So even though I was around food because the kids were on half term, I had lots of time in the day and I felt very energetic. But then I did start, the hunger bit was just at the, in the afternoon. I think I would feel happy and comfortable for people to do this, I think, because you're eating in the evening. And that's what I mean. I think if it's for longer, then I think it would start to feel very restricted. But it was absolutely really doable, actually. When you eat in the evening, I get quite a strong rebound feeling where I'm just like, my body's like, oh, feed me. So you have to, that bit's quite hard to manage. I would imagine quite a lot of people find it. That's the bit where you have to be a bit wary, I think, rather than just going, oh, sod it, now I can eat, so I'm going to have cheese and whatever. So I was quite careful around that time. I had my soup. I went to bed. I still felt a bit empty-ish, but I felt fine. So that I did feel really good. But actually that is a really important part, that evening part, I think, because I think that's where people will possibly go a bit wrong, and they might just suddenly just be like, oh, sod it, I'm starving, and overfeed. And actually, because it's not that easy to keep a lid on it just for that bit, because you're quite hungry by that point.
Well, of course. I mean, you're actually starving. You literally haven't had anything for 24 hours. But in the day, you mentioned that you felt bored. But your energy levels were okay, right? But did you have like things like any like detox, like classic detox reactions, like headaches or nausea or anything like that?
No, not really. I'd say I was a bit grumpy. I was definitely a bit hangry at some point. Coffee's the big one when people are fasting. And I don't drink coffee, so I wouldn't get the coffee. And I'm not massive sugar. You know, I like sweets and stuff now and then, but I don't. That's not a main part of my... So, because in my experience with clients, sugar and coffee are the ones that give you the hideous headache.
Generally, I mean, you eat well, you know, you don't drink much, you don't have sugar in your diet, you don't have caffeine. So, like, for instance, your natural detoxification systems are pretty, like, they're, you know, pretty good, aren't they? I mean, I'd probably say they're exceptional, versus, like, if somebody was to do this and be consuming all of those foods or some of those foods. So I think it's a lot about how you would come into any fast, because some people really struggle even with like a juice fast for various reasons. And so I think that's the kind of key differentiating point really, is that your body was already very well prepped to detox well, as it were, like versus somebody else.
On the whole, I'm probably in quite good shape to do a water fast. I think it should be very cautious. People should be very cautious if they're not. And if they do want to do a water fast, I would say that they have to prep for it. So it's more than just the day. It's more than just 24 hours. And then I suppose my thing that I'm really concerned about, and that you and I talk about a lot, is the binge purge cycle. So I always am concerned when talking about fasting that people don't start using it as a tool to
for weight loss.
For weight loss, or even if they've been out on a bender and then they think, oh, I know, I'll do that. Because your poor body, that's not what it's meant for. But you know, but I do you know what? Actually, I'm saying I don't know if I'd do it again. I think I probably would, but I definitely wouldn't be doing it very often. But I'm quite curious now about maybe longer one, maybe.
Well, okay. My question to you is, why would you do it?
Because I'd be because I think, right, if I was going to do a longer one, I would get in the zone. I would build a plan.
What do you mean you weren't in the zone, Rose? I mean, come on.
No, I mean that I was doing my normal day.
Okay.
If I'm going to do it for longer, if you give me a 3-day one, I want a yoga guru, I want a masseuse, I want sunshine, and I want
to be on a Caribbean island.
Exactly, because it is quite extreme. It feels quite extreme. You're aware that you're doing something that's pushing your body, I think. So I do think you have to be careful around it. But if you're going to do it for longer, then I would definitely do it as part of a very mindful, journey, so that you really you're supporting yourself through doing it, rather than just trying to carry on with your normal life and just restricting food, which is what it would feel like, I think, if you did it for longer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, would you, now having done it, and you hadn't previously, but would you ever recommend this to any clients potentially?
Do you know what? I think I would try it a few more times before I did. I don't know. I just see so many people who are on a binge purge cycle. And so it makes me nervous, the idea of withdrawing food completely. But I did feel good the day after, so it's worth investigating for sure. So I will investigate further.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we were to build it into our clinical practice, there definitely need to be some serious hand holding throughout that 24 hours, because you don't really know how somebody's going to react. And obviously we're trained in this, so we can kind of be more in tune with certain physical sensations, but for some people that might be like so alien. So I think there'd definitely be that element of like monitoring for sure. But you know, even with the hunger side of things, it would be, I should probably do it as well, just to kind of like see how you respond. But like
imagine the abuse. There'll be fury and rage from Eve Kalina because she's withholding food for a whole 24 hours.
But do you know what it is? It's like, actually, like, I don't know whether... So, for instance, with the juice fast, because you're consuming something, like, sometimes for some people, just consuming anything starts to trigger more of that hunger versus not having anything at all. Do you know what I mean? And so I wonder, actually, if it's actually harder to do a 3-day juice fast. I don't know. In my head, I'm thinking... versus a 1-day water fast, because of that whole thing. Like, psychologically, I totally agree with you, like beforehand, where your strategy was like, I'll have like dinner and then fast until... I could probably do that, actually.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
It's true, actually. But also, when you do a juice fast, you are getting some sugar and some calories. Even if it is just veg, you're still getting something.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking at blood sugar levels, I mean, you just, at least with a water fast, they're consistent. I definitely think people should be cautious. That's what I would say. Like, if you are thinking about doing a water fast, I think 24 hours, if you go into it correctly and come out of it correctly, you know, but if you're concerned, talk to some healthcare professional. But I think doing it for longer, I definitely think 72 hours, you should be under supervision.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's what I'm saying. This is why we're here on the podcast, is to trial these things. I mean, I don't know if I would, even on a 24-hour, feel comfortable just getting somebody to do that, because I don't know, I guess it depends on the person as well, Rose, doesn't it? Because like, even with gut symptoms, if somebody's got a lot of inflammation, actually it could make it worse initially. So I think it's just about reading where that person is and whether or not, but then like somebody that's reacting a lot to a lot of foods, I mean, I'm sort of coming from a more specific gut perspective here, it might be useful in that regard. I definitely think it's something we need to, I mean, there's homework for sure after this.
Maybe we should think about doing maybe a 3-day one in the next season wouldn't be a bad thing to do. I'm
not doing that, Rose. I'm just saying that right now.
I've just done one day. I've just done the work. So guess who is left to choose to do the
which willing victim? Maybe we can get our producer to do it.
Yeah, Lisa's going to be really good with that.
But well done on doing it. I mean, honestly. It is quite a task, I think, and like you said, it's a lot of it's more the psychological aspect. So yeah.
Oh, and also I should do a little side note that if anybody is thinking about doing it, I had a terrible cold, which I know poor Eva's got now, but I had a terrible cold, and so when I was supposed to do it, you have to use some common sense, people. I was not well, and it was not the time to do it, so I had to wait a week till my cold had gone before I felt like I was in a good space to do it. Because when your body is under stress, adding more stress by water fasting is not going to help. So, so really use common sense and just go, actually, I'm really stressed today, work's really busy, whatever it is, it's not the right time to do it. Okay.
No, definitely. Yes. No, that's important. Definitely. Anyways, before we give any hints to next week's challenge, we've had a few emails from you guys since we were our last season. This one is from Laurie. So let me read this. Hello, I love your podcast. I wanted to ask what online program you did for the weight training. That was the one that you did, Rose. There are so many out there. It's confusing to pick. Many thanks. Okay, so I'm just going to say that I did send Rose like quite a generic weight training program.
Yeah,
but
it's from Muscle and Strength.
Muscle and Strength. Yeah.
Because a few people have asked me this actually, because I don't think we put it in the show notes, so we will. Yeah. I'll get the link out.
We need to update it. Yeah. Those can be really useful, but in all honesty, like, it's not like you had no experience whatsoever in PTing. So I think actually, if you're new to this stuff, it's really worth investing in just a couple of sessions with a PT who can give you the correct form. Because honestly, if you start doing things with weights and you actually have poor form, you can actually cause yourself an injury. So I genuinely think, like, it's not going to be like super, super expensive, but just getting a few sessions in with a trainer initially will really, really help you.
Okay, so I also had an email from Martin, which I'm going to read now. This one was reacting to our 12 Days of Sprouts episode. I'm listening to your fabulous podcast while trimming my sprouts. I don't like them for the very reason you're talking about, the gas. But so interesting that you say our bodies will eventually get used to digesting them if we actually keep eating them. Though still not sure I like them enough to do that, Martin.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody likes sprouts as much as Rose Ferguson does, and but then there are some like more palatable ways to eating them, like not boiling them within an inch of their life, and like you know, we talked about some really like, you know, I'd say tastier ways of consuming them. But yeah, it is true. Like this is why sometimes when you get into too restrictive a diet, which often we see in our practice, don't we, Rose, is that actually what happens then is that, for instance, gluten's quite a common one that we see, and like people exclude, you know, gluten from their diet, and then whenever they eat gluten, they start getting in there. So there's kind of a misassociation then of saying, oh, okay, well, I'm now intolerant to gluten, when actually what's happened is that you need to start re-educating your microbes to start digesting some of those types of fibre again. So it's basically about just getting the microbes used to the fibre that's in the sprouts, and just doing that gradually. And also, you know, these are particularly potent in terms of their kind of prebiotic effect. So they are going to be more, say, gas producing than other types of fibre. So you have got to caveat that in and not be like eating a whole, again, unless you're Rose Ferguson, a whole bag of sprouts. So it's about quantity as well, you know. So yeah,
that's true. I did listen to, I don't ever listen to Gardeners Question Time, but I was in my car and I was just, well, anyway, but there was a woman on there who loved sprouts more than I did. She was very good. She was talking about how to grow them. And I thought, I wonder if I should stop growing sprouts. And I thought, just get over it, Rose, honestly.
That would be brilliant. That would be brilliant. No, but thanks for your messages. We've got one more here from Karen, who says, hi Rose and Eve, my friend told me about your podcast and I'm still catching up on the last few episodes. It's great to hear people talk with such knowledge on a subject but also enjoy themselves. The guests you have on to are great. Karen, I feel a bit like, I don't know, I'm really bad at taking compliments anyway, but people go, oh, you're great. It's like, but no, we're really pleased that you're enjoying the podcast. And I mean, that's the thing, we kind of want to bring a bit of, we don't take ourselves too seriously, do we, Rose? So, you know, and we also think there's some time. Yeah, and like, you know, the whole thing around nutrition and like well-being and some of that stuff is like, you know, you have got to sort of take it with a pinch of salt, and you know, that's what we're here to do, really. That's what we're here to do. It's so great to get your messages, so please keep emailing them to us at info@thewellnessbreakdown.co.uk or on our Instagram pages. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment below. Yeah, so I'm up next then. What have you got lined up, Rose? You're really not going to like it. I tell you, you're really not. I'm really sorry. But it's going to be very enlightening to our listeners, and you're doing it for the greater good. Okay, I'll have that in mind when you set the challenge, Rose. Remember, this podcast is also available in audio form. Just click on the link on the homepage. And thanks to everyone for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.